And wherever my voice is reaching you, I hope all my brothers and sisters, elders, youngsters are having a very, very good time. And now I welcome all my wonderful listeners to the Inquest Challenge Show. Alhamdulillah, as all our wonderful listeners know, that during our Inquest Challenge Show, we normally have a lot of Naat and Nachi dedications, some beautiful inquest into Islamic stories, as well as some beautiful Islamic reminders as well. But as we have been announcing for the past week or so, we have a fantastic live discussion show in the studio today, inshallah. And the topic of today's show is going to be the stigma of divorce, how a cultural society shames women after divorce. Now, mashallah, I'm very, very happy to say that, alhamdulillah, since the announcement of the show, we've had listeners who have messaged us to say thank you very much for putting this kind of show on the radio because it is needed in our society, alhamdulillah. And we have a number of questions as well, which we will come to towards the latter part of our show, inshallah. So I'd like to remind our listeners, inshallah, Aziz, in the studio live with me at this very moment, I have Sister Aishah Javed from Clear Sky Healing and Brother Javed Iqbal from Clear Sky Legal Services as well. Alhamdulillah, with our brother and sister in the studio today, we will have this discussion regarding the stigma of divorce and how cultural society shames women after divorce. So first of all, I would like to welcome Sister Aishah Javed in the studio and just find out a bit more about Clear Sky Healing, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
First of all, Sister Aishah, Jazakallah khair for joining us in the studio today. We thank you for taking time out of your schedule to join us on Radiomac on 107.21 FM. And inshallah, Aziz, what I wanted to ask Sister regarding Clear Sky Healing, I just want you to tell the listeners what Clear Sky Healing is and what you guys do.
Yeah, barakallahu feekum. Okay, so my name is Aishah. I am the executive coach at Clear Sky Healing. It is an initiative and a company that we put together because of the lack of support in our communities in regards to women that have gone through divorce. And my own experiences going through a divorce and receiving almost no help, mental health support, and especially with the Islamic stance to it. And over the years, I have trained, extensively trained in Islamic psychology and different modes of therapy so that I can give women that chance to heal from emotion, from heartbreak, from trauma post-divorce.
MashaAllah, Jazakallah khair. I think, first of all, I think is a really important thing in our society. We all see around us as a cultural thing that it does affect women in a very, very negative way, and the society and people's family just expect them to move on.
Yeah.
I think it's a fantastic service that you provide. I would like to welcome Brother Javed in the studio now. Javed bhai, I want first of all welcome you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
Javed bhai, I wanted to ask what your involvement is with Clear Sky Healing and what you do, what's your role in this organization as well.
So Clear Sky Healing was set up in conjunction with Aishah. Me and Aishah have worked together before. I always have to say this, is we're not related. So there's no nepotism going on here.
Yep.
There's no favoritism. We share a name. Hers is actually Javed, my name's Javed Iqbal, but we're not related at all.
Very common name, very common.
It's a very common name, but people assume
Yep.
that we're related. We're not in any way related at all. Because I own Clear Sky Legal, we deal with the divorce part, the children's part, the matrimony finances. But what I found in the last sort of 15, 20 years I've been doing this is that there was actually no help for women, and especially Muslims, because I deal extensively within the sort of Muslim community, South Asian community. There's no help once they actually are divorced in terms of moving on, in terms of healing that mental trauma, emotional trauma.
Yeah.
And that is where me and Aisha kind of got together and we set up Clear Sky Healing exclusively as programs just for Muslims.
MashaAllah. Jazakallah khair. I just wanted to ask, any of you guys can answer this question, is regarding the stance on divorce, Islamically, where do you guys stand? What do you think regarding divorces in our country? The divorce rates are really high. Do you think that's a positive thing in our culture, or do you think what we need to do to overcome the divorce rates, or what do we need to do to in our society make it look as if it's not as much of a bad thing. Javed by Aisha.
I think the issue is now
Yeah.
is that society has moved on.
Yeah.
So what used to happen in our community certainly
Yeah.
is maybe 50 years ago, 40 years ago, you had families marrying each other. You had the people there who could sustain that marriage.
Yes.
And it was usually the first cousins or within family. Now what you have is obviously a lot of people are getting married of their own choice.
Yeah.
And I use that advisedly because you should be getting married of your own choice.
Yeah.
But the other problem is that society now has opened up a lot.
Yes.
You have a lot more sort of variables than you did maybe 30, 40 years ago. Now, divorce per se isn't a bad thing. We're one of the, actually, we're the only major religion in the world that has divorce. There's no divorce in Hinduism, no divorce in Sikhism, no divorce in Orthodox Catholicism. So in Catholicism, you must have heard that phrase, till death do us part.
Yes.
Right, there's no divorce. They have judicial separation.
Yes.
Hinduism, it doesn't exist. Sikhism, so we have it. So the fact that we have it means that there's a reason that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put it there.
Yeah.
Because they know people sometimes don't get on. I don't think it should be anything that should be frowned upon, but it's not anything that should be taken lightly either.
Yes. I really agree with your stance. Alhamdulillah. For myself, from my point of view, I also believe that it's something that's disliked. Divorce is something that's
Absolutely.
disliked in the religion of Islam. But I also believe that as Muslims, we need to understand that sometimes two people don't get along. And Islamically, a relationship starts after marriage, which means if you get a divorce, it's not actually something that should be frowned upon. It should be just saying, look, we tried, it's not worked out, let's move on.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, Sister Aisha, what do you see from your point of view, from your clients, when something like that divorce happens? Do they get a chance to move on?
No, I think that the first thing that a woman comes to me with is the question of how am I ever going to get married again?
Yeah.
You know, I have 3 children. My marriage didn't work out. What are people going to think about me now?
Yeah.
What am I going to say to my family, my community, the masjid? And that's essentially what I deal with straight away. And I have to rein them back in and think, hey, what do you think about the situation though? Like, can we dissect this and can we take lessons from it? Like, how are you going to take those lessons?
Yeah.
And how are you going to go forward with that? So I don't think it's a bad thing. I think we just need to be more open,
Yeah.
more understanding in our marriages. And if it ends in a divorce, it is something that happens. We got to think of it, okay, what lessons did I learn from this? And how can I put that in my life now?
Do you guys also think that the word divorce talaq is used really, really easily and is done really easily in our society now?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Do you want to tell me, from your point of view, why do you think that?
I think the whole cultural aspect of it plays a massive part. So I think it's given. I think the understanding for men is that they can do whatever they want with it. Some men, not all men.
Yeah.
And that really scares a lot of women.
Yeah.
And so that what I see definitely is that women will go over and beyond in a lot of cases, so that they never end up with that that label of divorce. I do think that men sometimes blame a lot of things. Family, I was angry, I was this, I was that. Instead of actually talking to the spouses, talking to one another, they will rather speak to other people.
Yeah.
This is for both men and women.
Yeah.
That's definitely what I think.
Yeah. Can I add to that? I'll also add to that. I think I've seen it around as well, that people don't compromise as much now. And I
No.
think compromising is what makes a relationship.
Yes.
Sometimes you have to change. You're living with a person for the first time, and that's a whole new being in your life, in your household. So you're not going to get along with each other. You're going to find out each other's bad habits. You're not going to like certain aspects of each other's lives. You're not going to like certain things that each other do. But does that mean you get a divorce? I've seen it happen before. It's ridiculous. It's just unbelievable how quick it happens. Allahu Akbar. I think just finding out from you guys, especially Sister Aisha, you must have had a lot of different clients.
Yeah.
And just thinking about all the different kind of opinions you've had, it makes you realize that I think our society needs to understand that divorce is something that happens, but it's not something that's wrong.
Yeah.
Javed, do you not add to that, please?
Yeah, definitely. I think divorce is something that happens. It's not a bad word. What you were saying earlier about, in today's time, the one of the biggest problem is society has got bigger and it's got smaller. Now everything now is momentary. It's straight away. It's disposable. You don't like somebody, you can get rid. You're not getting on. I know people have come to my office and said, I want to get divorced. And when did you separate? 2 days ago.
Wow.
They didn't want to work on it.
Yeah.
But I think that's just where society's heading, because everything now is so easily attainable. We just want to get rid. When we were growing up, toaster went on the blink. You'd get a plug, put a new plug on it, make sure it worked.
Yeah.
Now you go on any website you want, order it, it comes the next day.
Literally.
Unfortunately, relationships have become like that as well. People don't want to work on them because they know they're 3-4 clicks away from a new relationship, from finding whatever they want. And I think there's an old word in Arabic and in Urdu as well, sabr, patience or fortitude. That's kind of gone now, and I think that resilience needs to come back within relationships.
Yeah, I think resilience is the right word. I think you have to understand people always go through difficult times. As Muslims, we believe that this world is a hell for the believer, but a paradise for the non-believer. So we're going to go through difficulties in this life. So you're not going to go through a kushti life, no chance. You're going to be tested. Tested, always.
And this might be part of the test.
The Urdu word is azmaish. That's why I used to hear a word from my dad a lot. You go through azmaish all the time through your life. You have to try to manage it, try to make the most of the situation. Sister Aishah, do you want to give the listeners your details for Clear Sky Healing, especially the sisters if they're going through difficult times? So if you have your information, or if you pass on some information to them about where you're based and your number and so forth.
So our office number is 01274 981212, and they can call me through the week, Monday to Friday. And then we also you'll find us also on Facebook under Clear Sky Healing Ltd. You will find me on Instagram, Clear Sky Healing again, and you'll also find me on some of my videos on TikTok as well. Again, it's Clear Sky Healing.
Jazakallah khair, sister. Thank you very much. We're going to go for a short night break, and then when we return, we're going to have some questions for our guests in the studio, inshallah. We've got some questions from our listeners as well. So keep listening to Radiomac on 107.1 FM, and inshallah, Aziz, we will return after the commercial break, inshallah. As I mentioned as many times as you can, you're over.
listening to Radiomac's Jamal Thani broadcast on 107.1 FM. You can also listen to us on www.radiomac.org. And if you would like to advertise, ring 0793 66 403.
ओ मुड़िया एक खाना दो बंदियां ना सा मारे ऐसे न कुदर गया
ओ बाबा ओ खाना ही इतना मजेदार सी नी तुझे याद ही नहीं मैं सारा ही खा गया
ओ निकिया ऐसा स्वादला खाना किन गए मंगाई
ये मजेदार खाना शिनवाड़ी रेस्टोरेंट से मंगवाया गया है जहां से आपको सुबह का नाश्ता मिलेगा और चपली कबाब फुल लैम्ब टर्सी कढ़ाई काबली पुलाव और बहुत कुछ ट्राई द बेस्ट ट्राई शिनवाड़ी 358 Leeds Road Bradford BD39QX 01274 371083 opening times every day 8 a.m. till midnight.
Parkiza Lees Road, not just a supermarket, but different from the rest. As well as all your everyday shopping needs, our food to go serves the finest tasting desi curries, delicious starters and much more. Probably the largest selection of mouth-watering food ready to go. And did you know we cater for any parties and gatherings at great value prices? Call us on 01274 737786 or pop in and discover Bradford's best kept secrets.
आदमी की फिर इस लॉकडाउन करी छोड़िया ये चिटाल दी नहीं होनी ना
चाचा तुसा क्या है सी ना सर्विस कराओ
ओए सर्विस क्या करा पिछले साल सर्विस कराई थी हुन इस मॉडल ने पार्ट लबने ही नहीं
Heater Motor Factor, Manor Building, Oak Lane, Bradford 9, telephone 01274 493531 and order branch 1266 Lees Road, Bradford 3, telephone 01274 660 333.
New insights into the mysteries of the Quran, a book by Asif Sabah, self-help guide to meditation and the Quran, health, wealth, happiness and well-being. Order your copy on Amazon now or visit asifsabahmindfulness.com. The Rock Crystals is an adventure into the afterlife, also available on Amazon.
यार तुम तो कहते थे कि नया मकान लेने के बाद मेरी पॉकेट खाली हो गई है ये इतने खूबसूरत कारपेट और लैमिनेट फ्लोरिंग कहाँ से आए हैं
अरे भाई भला हो मनिंग कारपेट वालों का जहां से कारपेट और लैमिनेट फ्लोरिंग आए हैं अगर आप भी अपने घर को खूबसूरत कारपेट और फ्लोरिंग से सजाना चाहते हैं और पैसे बचाना चाहते हैं तो इसके लिए एक ही नाम मनिंग कारपेट वी हैव अ वाइड सिलेक्शन ऑफ कारपेट्स लैमिनेट एंड विnyls 230 मनिंग लेन ब्रैडफोर्ड BD87BZ 01274 973206 or 07984415455
Travel Express minibus and coach hire provides a wide range of services including schools, weddings, airport transfers, Hajj and Umrah, theme parks and seaside resorts. We have a mixed fleet of vehicles ranging from 16-seat minibuses right through to 80-seater double-deck buses to cater for all your occasions. The biggest operator in Bradford. For a quotation, visit travelexpress.co.uk. Travel Express, the coach depot, Otley Road, Shipley, BD17 7HP 01274 598 833.
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम मुसलमान भाइयों बहनों जामिया उस्मानिया हीटर रोड ब्रैडफोर्ड 9 नई मस्जिद बना रहे हैं जिस पर 3 मिलियन पाउंड खर्चा आएगा इस सदका जारिया में हिस्सा लेकर जन्नत में अपना घर बनाएं क्योंकि अल्लाह के नबी सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम का फरमान है जिसने दुनिया में अल्लाह का घर बनाया अल्लाह उसको जन्नत में घर अता फरमाएगा राब्ता के लिए मुफ्ती मोहम्मद बशीर बताए फोन नंबर 07866311213 और साहबजादा मोहम्मद यास साहब 07367576631
Would you like to advertise locally at a cost that is flexible, targetable, affordable and accessible? Then look no further. Adverts4U has designed most comprehensive range of digital advertising vans to meet the needs of businesses and agencies nationwide. Mobile digital vans with the best of technology to get your message delivered to targeted audience of your choice. Adverts from as little as £99, interacting and measuring in real time the client's message. Visit adverts4u.co.uk or call 0781 785 4715 to book your campaign today.
रज़िया केरी फिक्रिच पई है पहलू ना बयानी शॉपिंग वास्ते इधर-उधर फिरना पैसी ओ जाए फिरने की क्या जरूरत है सिद्धा चाचा प्लाजा चो जिथे हर चीज लबनी ज्वेलरी ते कपड़े तक प्लाजा एक ते बेशुमार दुकाना इस चाइना ना चाचा प्लाजा
Chacha Plaza, 2 Ingleby Road, Bradford, BD7 to AT. Ring 07459 814 556. That's 07459 814 556. Are you having trouble paying too much energy bills? If so, contact us for the cheapest rates in the UK guaranteed. Ring Arshad Madni on 07578 995 170 or Humair on 07936 77403. Or females, contact Rihanna on 07956 456 239. If you take any three services with us, you will receive £150 cashback. If you mention Radiomac, £50 extra cashback. Dedicated to save you money on your energy bills.
Neither on the trio, neither on the trio.
ओ बाबा जिस बेडे पर तो सा सहने और नींदर असली नहीं बल्कि उड़ली जानी
अब दस ना फिर मैं क्या करा
चंगी नींदर ते चंगी बेड पर असली ते चंगिया बेड लबड़ियां टेस्टेड एंड ओखली बेड्स तो
All beds direct from factory, no middleman. We specialize in assortment of mattresses and divans. Special landlord and trade discount open to the public. Save money. Chester and Oakley Beds, 25 Mount Street, Bradford, BD4 8TA 01924 473 323. Spend over £300 to get a £50 discount if you mention Radiomac.
मामा आज क्या खासो अब पामाजान उसना पामाजान ओ मामा ये रोज पामाजान खाई खाई तंग नहीं पैनी हो वो चलारी के खवारी खाओ ते तावे नहीं तंग पैना तो फिर करा ऑर्डर अब टली खड़का देर कैसी है
12 Manville Terrace, Bradford. Call 01274 726 218. Opposite Bradford College and University. Opened every day, 3 p.m. till midnight. Delivery available from 5 p.m. Delicious Parmesan House, Manville Terrace is the only exclusive delicious Parmesan house in Bradford. Accident Law Group. Had an accident? Call our dedicated claim line on 01274 481111. That's 481111. Recovery and storage, instant vehicle replacements, taxi replacements, self-hire, approved NBRA body shop, legal advice. Email info@accidentlawgroup.co.uk or visit 44 Duckworth Grove, Bradford, BD9 5HQ. Good news for Bradford and Yorkshire. Opening offer. First week 25% off. We Desi authentic South Indian dosa and street style Chinese food. We Desi.
You are listening to Radiomac on 107.1 FM and you are tuned into the Inquest challenge show with Hamaad. Welcome all my listeners back to the show today. Alhamdulillah, we have a special program today. And the title of today's program is The Stigma of Divorce, How a Cultural Society Shames Women After Divorce. Alhamdulillah, I'm joined in the studio by Sister Aishah Javed from Clear Sky Healing and also joined by Brother Javed from Clear Sky Legal Services as well. And our topic today is typically the divorce and why it is such an issue in our society. Alhamdulillah, we are going through the topic now. We have some questions, but before we do have some questions, I want to welcome Sister Aishah back in the studio. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So, Sister, just another question for you regarding Clear Sky Healing. And I just wanted to ask, the steps you guys take, what kind of steps do you take when you are managing an individual who might go through a divorce or might stay together with their partner?
I think the first thing that I do is evaluate the situation when it comes to women. So asking them where they are right now, the marital status, are you still in a relationship, are you going through the divorce, have you gone through it, how long, and then get them to tell me where they are in terms of the emotions, how are they feeling, what things are coming up, what made them reach out to us, and then after that assessment, putting in those plans. So each person has a customized plan made with me to where they want to be. So if they are in a marriage, is it something that you want to stay in, and what plan do we put together to make that marriage work? And then also for the divorce as well. If you have gone through a divorce, we make a plan of what are you going to do next, what are your plans.
So, am I right in saying that you don't promote either a divorce or staying together, depends on the situation?
It really does depend on the situation, and it will always come from the woman.
Yep.
So whatever decision she comes up with in that time, I will always support that.
Okay. I think it's always really important to see what the person is themselves.
Yeah.
And as individuals, we have many different scenarios. I want to bring a scenario, Javed, I wanted to ask you regarding this scenario as well, inshallah. Now, I'm not going to mention any names, obviously, but I know a friend whose family member went through a divorce quite a long time ago, and I remember them confiding in us that the reason why they never got married again, and this is 30 years down the line, they never got married, kids grown up, married, everything, never got married, because one of their relatives, and this is someone who was high up in the family, who a lot of people respected, said, don't you ever dare get married again, because I'm the one who did your rishta in the first place. So it's going to be based on me. What do you think about that kind of point of view?
I mean, that's, for want of a better word, it's just stupid, number one. Number two, it's not very Islamic.
Yeah.
You know, Islam is there that we live our life to the fullest as human beings, which involves getting married, and people do get divorced. You know, even in Sallam's time, people got divorced and they got married again.
Yeah.
Now, all you're doing is, whoever this person was, whether it's he or she, they're bringing either matriarchy or patriarchy culture into that person's life and saying, well, you're not going to move on with your life because I'm not going to allow that to happen. So I think this sort of social aspect of it, that control, is what needs to be done. People need to make their own decisions. Now, what you asked Sister Aishah just a short while ago, you know, in my job, what we do is information gather. So, you know, you'll gather all the information, put it in front of a person and say, listen, based on what you've told me, you've got X, Y, Z, A, B, C, this is what's going on. Now, you tell me what you want to do. And a lot of the times, one of the techniques that I use is take that person out of that situation and make them the observer. So I say to them, if I came to you and I said to you, I was married and this is what was going on, what would you tell me? And usually that's where the answer lies.
Yeah.
They'll say, well, I'd be saying X. And I'd say, well, you've got your answer.
Yeah.
But that sort of social aspect that you just touched upon, that is still quite prevalent. Where people say, don't you dare get married again. Don't you dare do this. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
I know. What I've noticed, Javed, is, you know, back in the past, when our parents, when our elders, when they were married and they had difficulties, and they definitely did have difficulties, but they used to compromise, and they compromised because of the respect they had for the elders. They didn't want to make them look bad. Now that kind of point of view completely reverses what I just said earlier on. I put it in the way that the elder said, don't you ever dare get married, but the kids back then, the young, well, our parents, they were young back then, they didn't want to get divorced because they didn't want to look bad in their family. Do you think that's a good point of view, or is that a bit of a different kind of point of view from what I said before?
No, I think that point of view of not getting divorced for the sake of family is wrong.
Yep.
Now, I get a lot of people who say, I don't want to get divorced, it's going to have a bad effect on my kids.
Yep.
I say it's the other way around. See, when you've got two people who are deeply unhappy in one marriage, that's going to bleed into the children. The children are then going to grow up with this really skewed and messed up view of marriage and what married life should be. That in turn then affects their Islam and their deen, because what you're showing is, listen, Islam is so rigid, our deen is so sort of blocked it off, that no matter what happens, you have to stay in this marriage. This is the way life is. And a lot of people get put off marriage. A lot of people get put off relationships. They don't grow up to be a fully functional sort of 360 human being. They just have these little views. So I think that is wrong, I would say, anyway, personally, to say I'm only staying married because so-and-so told me, or for the sake of the family. What about the family's duty on you?
Yeah.
What about your parents' duty on you to ensure that you're happy?
Yeah.
What about society's duty to ensure that each individual of that society stays happy? And what about their individual happiness?
And I think that's where the underlying cause lies for counselling for women, because they block a lot of stuff inside. They don't tell their family members, they don't tell anyone. So, Sister Aishah, do you see that a lot? Do you see a lot of women that can't go to family members to discuss with them that this is the issue that I have, I've got these problems, so and so? Do you see that a lot?
Absolutely. I think a lot of women come to me and say, I can't tell my brothers, I can't tell my father, because they got me married young, or they had this dream of getting me married in England, and I don't want to mess that up. I can't bring that shame on my parents.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, Jav just picked on this as well, like, I'm seeing an increase of women who are questioning their deen,
Yeah.
who are questioning, do I want to still be a Muslim because I can't go to the masajid, I can't go to my parents, I can't speak about this to my friends, my family, because there's so much judgment.
Yeah.
Is this what Islam is really about?
Yeah.
Especially our revert sisters, they've asked me many times, like, why is this happening to us? I thought Islam was supposed to elevate the woman and the status of a woman, but this doesn't feel like it. So that's definitely something that we're trying to combat as well in our society, is the cultural aspect too, but also the deen aspect. I think that's one of the hardest things I have to listen to from a woman, is saying, I don't know if I want to be in Islam anymore.
Allah. Allah. I mean, that is starting to hear myself as well. I think what you mentioned is judging someone, and I think our community, our society, they judge everyone, no matter how little, how big. You know, it doesn't matter if a person is a parent, if a woman is a parent, if she's a wife, if she's a daughter, she's always being judged, and it's the vice versa for men as well. You know, in our society, we get this judgment a lot. Okay, Javaid and Sister Aishah, I'm going to go to our first question. So, any one of you can choose to answer this. I'm just going to repeat it, inshallah, and we'll go towards the questions from there, inshallah. So, the first question today that we've got from our listeners is, I know of a divorced woman who was abused by her husband. The community is judging and saying it's her own fault, and she should have stayed for the children. What advice would you give? I think, Javed, you said something similar to this already. So, Sister Aishah, would you mind answering that question, please?
Yeah, I do want to just reiterate what Brother Javed did say as well, though. A broken home doesn't mean, in our society nowadays, it actually does mean that the man and the woman are no longer married and there's two houses, right? But in my understanding and my education, I would say that is wrong.
Yeah.
Because a broken home can also be where a man and a woman are living as married, and they are also broken. And in this situation, I would say you do the best that you can with the opportunities you have in front of you.
Yeah.
Everybody does this, right? And the society and everybody on the outside never know what's happening behind closed doors.
Yeah.
We just spoke about this before, right? We never know what's going on behind closed doors. And if she has decided to take that step, the honourable thing to do is to support her.
Sure.
Because again, you never want her to turn around and say, I don't want to be in this deen anymore. I don't want to be in this position anymore. And just, na'udhu billah, we had a death in Bradford not long ago of a woman who was suffering from domestic abuse.
Yes.
We don't want to see our sisters go through this, and our brothers as well. So support her, and supporting means kind, even the smallest things that you think don't matter. The kind words, asking if they're okay, spending time with their children, supporting her in doing whatever she needs help with, whether that's even cooking, looking after herself. All of these things need to happen. But the more you judge on that person, we also have to remember that me and you are going to be accountable for that judgment.
Yeah.
And one day we're going to be in this position where we too are going to be judged then.
Yeah.
So we have to humble ourselves as a community.
MashaAllah, Jazakallah khair, sister, for that answer that question. Javaid, I wanted to add to something that you said earlier on, which I really thought was really fundamentally important. You said that when a couple stay together just for the sake of the children, but they're not happy, the kids are going to see that unhappiness, and it bounces back to them. I come from an education background, working in a school, and I see the word damaged student, mental trauma many times. And do you think that happens a lot when parents tend to stay together just for the sake of the kids, and then those kids develop really, really bad habits as well, where you're literally just starting the cycle again, where kids who have seen their parents divorce staying together, and now those kids are getting married, and now they're. Have you ever seen that before?
Yeah, many times. The problem you've got is, children mimic.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yep.
Children mimic. And if a child who's growing up in their formative years has seen mum and dad constantly argue, has seen mum being subjected to domestic abuse, whether that's physical, mental, emotional, whatever it is,
Yep.
that's what he or she is learning. That's what he or she is considering the norm in their life.
Yep.
They don't know any different.
Yep.
Now, I would rather parents got divorced, you had two households, and you got mum over here and you got dad over here, and that child just thinks, right, I'm safe at mum, I'm safe at dad, they both equally love me, and I get to go to both of them. What their personal dynamic is, I don't care, because I'm going here and I'm going there. What happens is, for the sake of society, for the sake of show, for want of a better word, these people live together behind, again, closed doors. But what's going on there is just having an absolute detrimental effect on the children. And for me, that shows, as a society, how far we've still got to go. And what you said earlier, but the question you asked was saying that society was blaming the woman. That's just victim shaming. It's victim blaming. And that's, unfortunately, in our community is so prevalent, where all they want to do is say to the woman, it was your fault. Because 90% of the time, if not more, what happens is there's this old thing where they say, if you recognize a problem, you have to acknowledge it. If you acknowledge a problem, you've got to do something about it. Now, it's better not to acknowledge and not to recognize the problem at all. It's easy to blame the woman. Rather than looking at your own son or looking at your own brother or looking at the males in society and going, hang on a minute, this is your fault. But as soon as we say this is your fault, we now have to do something about it. You know, I'll give you a really quick story. I had a woman who came to see me years ago, and she said, oh, my son-in-law's really messing about, and he's going out drinking, he's going out womanizing. They've seen him in these casinos in Bradford. He's, you know, and she goes, I think he's got black magic on him. Right? He's got, you know, her daughter was with her as well, the husband's wife. We think he's got black magic. I said, maybe he's just like that. But if you admit that he's like that, now you're going to have to do something about it. Whereas if he's had black magic done on him, you don't have to admit to the problem, you're deflecting, you're taking it somewhere else. That's one of the biggest problems in our society, deflection.
I think what I've seen as well, a lot of parents, I've seen, my putra changai, always, never, my son can't do this, I've seen it so many times, or my daughters, they never, like you said, they never admit it, and once you admit it, then you've got that thing. Now you have to do something about it. Now you are, in your eyes, you think, oh, why done that was wrong? Why is he turned out like this? Why? And then you start.
But nobody wants to confront them questions. Nobody wants to go down them rabbit holes, because once you do, then you have to admit your culpability in that. You have to go, maybe I didn't raise him or her properly. Maybe I said this, or maybe maybe the way I've lived my married life has now permeated downwards, and this is the fruits now. And that's what a lot of parents don't want to admit to. They'd rather blame somebody else.
I think we have to get away from the vicious cycle. Once we get past that cycle, I think right now our community is stuck in a very vicious cycle. Like I said, we need to get past that and start healing and start becoming a proper society.
But you have to confront your emotions. You have to confront these very, very, very difficult questions, which unfortunately our community a lot of the times doesn't want to confront.
One thing I'll tell you right now, Javed, my sister Aishah, what you guys mentioned, you know, that staying together for the sake of the children. I don't think our community understands that you shouldn't stay together for the sake of children, because you're going to be unhappy in that marriage. Absolutely. That's not fair on you, because Islam, the marriage is the one relationship that's halal on you, so you should live it to the fullest. You know, in this world with so much fitna, how can you stay away, you know, and not have that one halal relationship and you're living it in an unhappy way? I think we've got many more questions coming up, but inshallah it's time for the commercial break. And inshallah, after the commercial break we'll return, and we've got some more questions for our listeners. So I hope all the listeners are enjoying the questions. If you have any questions, my brothers, sisters, elders, youngsters who are listening to Radiomac at this very moment, please ring our studio telephone number 01274 570 900 570 900. You can also listen to us on our YouTube channel as well, which can be found on our website as well, www.radiomac.org. Inshallah, Aziz, we will return after this naat and after the commercial break. Inshallah, keep listening to Radiomac on 107.1 FM.
दाल से दाता दोनों जहां के जूद है उनका शहद से मीठा मुहम्मद नाम वसल्लम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम क्या नाम है सल्ले अला नाम मुहम्मद आँखों की ज़िया दिल की जिला नाम मुहम्मद ये नाम कोई काम बिगड़ने नहीं देता बिगड़ों को बना देता है ये नाम मुहम्मद नाम मुहम्मद कितना मीठा 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 लगता है सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम लब पे आ जाता है जब नाम जनाब मुंह में घुल जाता है शहद नायाब वक्त में हो के हमें जाओ बेताब अपने लब चूम लिया करते हैं नाम मोहम्मद कितना मीठा 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 लगता है सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम है तो बस नाम मुहम्मद ही सहारा अपना इनके सदक़े से ही चलता है गुजारा अपना हमको तूफान की मौजों का कोई खौफ नहीं हमको तूफान की मौजों का कोई खौफ नहीं हम इसी नाम से पालेंगे किनारा अपना नाम मोहम्मद कितना मीठा 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 लगता है सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम कश्ती-ए रूह में नारे नमरूद में बत्ने माही में यूनुस की फरियाद पर हर जगह आपका नाम नामी ये सल्ले अला हर जगह हर मुसीबत में काम आ गया नाम मोहम्मद अल्लाह अल्लाह ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाहु
You are listening to Radiomac's Jamal Thani broadcast on 107.1 FM. You can also listen to us on www.radiomac.org. And if you would like to advertise, ring 0793 66 403.
हेलो मैं डॉक्टर अनवार हूँ इन सर्दियों में अगर आपको फौरी तबी मदद की ज़रूरत है लेकिन पता नहीं कि कहाँ जाना है तो NHS 111 का इस्तेमाल करें आपकी जांच की जाएगी और करीबी सर्विस की तरफ भेजा जाएगा जैसे GP प्रैक्टिस फार्मेसी या फौरी तबी मरकज NHS 111 सेहत के वसीर मसाइल की फौरी मदद का एक आसान तरीका है ये एक मुफ्त सर्विस है जो 24 घंटे और हफ्ते के 7 दिन दस्तयाब है अगर आपको किसी दूसरी जुबान में मदद की ज़रूरत हो तो 111 पर कॉल करें और तर्जुमान के लिए कहें ये एक राज़दाराना सर्विस है 111 पर कॉल करें 111.nhs.uk पर ऑनलाइन जाएं या NHS ऐप का इस्तेमाल करें
ओ मुड़िया ये खाना दो बंदियां ना था हमारे ऐसे न गुजर गया
ओ बाबा ओ खाना ही इतना मजेदार सी भी तुझे याद ही नहीं कि मैं सारा ही खाई गया
ओ निकिया ऐसा स्वादला खाना किन के चुकाए
ये मजेदार खाना शेनवाड़ी रेस्टोरेंट से मंगवाया गया है जहां से आपको सुबह का नाश्ता मिलेगा और चपली कबाब फुल लैम चर्ची कढ़ाई काबली पुलाव और बहुत कुछ ट्राई द बेस्ट ट्राई शेनवाड़ी 358 Leeds Road Bradford BD3 9QX 01274 371083 opening times every day 8 a.m. till midnight.
Accident Law Group. Had an accident? Call our dedicated claim line on 01274 481111. That's 481111. Recovery and storage, instant vehicle replacement, taxi replacement, self-hire, approved NBRA body shop, legal advice. Email info@accidentlawgroup.co.uk or visit 44 Duckworth Grove, Bradford BD9 5HQ.
शादी नी शॉपिंग ईद नी शॉपिंग बर्थडे नी शॉपिंग हर किस्म नी शॉपिंग वास्ते सिद्धे चाचा प्लाजा चो जिते हर किस्म नी चीज लबसी सस्ती तो सस्ती आला तो आला चंगी लबसी ना याद रखो चाचा प्लाजा
Chacha Plaza, 2 Ingleby Road, Bradford, BD7 to 8E. Ring 07459 814 556. That's 07459 814 556.
क्या कहला कुछ ना इंतजार होना लगे यार
ओ ये रहा हम बस का इंतजार करती है अभी तक इधर से कोई बस गुजरा ही नहीं है
और छोड़ो बसेगी अच्छो गड्डी च बियो
ओ ये रहा हमारे बैठने से कि तुम्हारा गाड़ी का टायर ना पंक्चर हो जाए कहीं हवा ना निकल जाए
अगर ऐसी कोई गल होई गई तो सीधे ले जाओ सर
BM Tires for your puncture repairs, wheel balancing and tracking. New and Part 1 tires available. BM Tires 22 Paradise 3 BD1 2HR 01274 728 288. The best name in tires, BM Tires.
Save the Mothers Trust is a UK-based charity formed in 2003 with the aim of helping those in poverty and hardship to become self-sufficient and independent. Support our many projects around the world including Food Aid, World Water and the SMT Maternity Hospital. Donate your zakat, sadaqah and lillah by calling 01274 270 043 or visit smtrust.org.uk. With your continued support, we can help make a difference.
Would you like to advertise digitally at a cost that is flexible, targetable, affordable and accessible? Then look no further. Adverts for You has designed most comprehensive range of digital advertising vans to meet the needs of businesses and agencies nationwide. Mobile digital vans with the best of technology to get your message delivered to targeted audience of your choice. Adverts from as little as £99, interacting and measuring in real time the client's message. Visit advertsforyou.co.uk or call 0781 785 4715 to book your campaign today.
A unique name in the world of fast food, Amigos Bradford, from where you can get tasty mouth-watering pizzas, burgers, shakes and much more. Delivery service available. Amigos Bradford, open Monday to Sunday, 4 p.m. till 11 p.m. Order online at amigosbradford.co.uk. 503 Otley Road, Bradford, BD2 4QL. Order line 01274 786 100. Al-Markaz Al-Islami has launched its appeal for £1 million for a purpose-built masjid, which will aim to promote the true message of Islam while uniting all Muslims in Bradford and create sound relations with all communities. Your donations will help in funding the purpose-built masjid, reception, offices, storeroom, first aid, funeral service, library, mortuary and much more. Bank transfer, Barclays Bank, account name, Al-Markaz Al-Islami, sort code 201188, account number 431616668 or ring 01274 270 043. Chaiwali, Little Horton Lane, BD5 9BL. Buy one, get second item half price from Monday to Thursday. Come and try our Korak chai, Kashmiri tea, Desi tea, delicious desserts, donuts, brownies and much more. Don't forget Yogurtwali, our second branch on 820 Leeds Road, BD3 9TY. First shop in Yorkshire to do fat-free frozen yogurts with 4 flavors and over 32 toppings.
New insights into the mysteries of the Quran, a book by Asif Sabah, self-help guide to meditation and the Quran, health, wealth, happiness and well-being. Order your copy on Amazon now or visit Asif Sabah Mindful mindfulness.com. The Rock Crystals is an adventure into the afterlife. Also available on Amazon.
Good news for Bradford and Yorkshire. Opening offer. First week 25% off. We Desi authentic South Indian dosa and street style Chinese food. We Desi opening in your hometown Bradford and Manicum Lane. BD87HH 01274 712783. First place to introduce 99 variety of dosa and Indian street style Chinese and street style charts. Morning breakfast where you can eat Hyderabadi Nawabi style Nihari and Paya. Desi breakfast with chana halwa puri. Special Hyderabad dum biryani. Tandoori items and a variety of desserts and mocktails. You are listening to Radiomac's Jamal Thani broadcast on 107.1 FM. You can also listen to us on www.radiomac.org. And if you would like to advertise, ring 0793 66 77403.
कितना मीठा 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 लगता है सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम जब नाम मोहम्मद में मजा रखा है जिसको हर एक ने सीने से लगा रखा है कुछ अजब नाम मोहम्मद में मजा रखा है जिसको हर एक ने सीने से लगा रखा है उनका करम है कि वो
You are listening to Radiomac on 107.1 FM and you are tuned into the Inquest, a challenge show with Hamaad. I welcome all my listeners back after the commercial break. Those of you who have joined us since the beginning of the show, Alhamdulillah, we've had a special program today. The topic of today's program is the stigma of divorce, how a cultural society shames women after divorce. And I'm joined today by Sister Aishah Javed from Clear Sky Healing and joined by Brother Javed Iqbal from Clear Sky Legal Services as well. Alhamdulillah, we had a really informative discussion. We've got questions from our listeners, but mainly about the services Sister Aishah from Clear Sky Healing provides, and also the services from Brother Javed Bhai from Clear Sky Legal as well, and also different scenarios as well. Javed Bhai, I'm going to go to you. We'll welcome you first. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
And also Sister Aishah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
So, Javed, I want to ask you this question, and we were talking about this outside, that this is a very, very broad question. How many times do you guys get, Aisha, this is for both of you, how many times do you guys get this where family gets involved and the couple are in such a situation that they're looking at divorce because of the family?
Yeah, that happens, especially in our community. That happens, I'd say, majority of the time, especially when the parties are related.
Yeah.
Because what then happens is that the two people who are actually married, they get lost in the middle.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, actually, the dad's got involved, the uncle's got involved, the other uncle's got involved, the granddad, grandma, uncle, aunt, everybody's got involved. But the two people who are actually there, they get lost. Now, the problem I have with family getting involved within a marriage, everybody has an agenda.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to come in with a neutral perspective going, right, this is the way we need to resolve this. Everybody's going to say, well, actually, because she's my niece and he's not my nephew, I'm going to take her side, or he's my nephew, she's not my niece, I'm related to this, that, and the other. And you get some people, majority of the time, I'm just going to put that out there, they just want to interfere.
Yeah.
They want, and you have to be very, very careful who you let into your circle. Within the family, so we see when you're married within family, you can't avoid that family dynamic. What you've got to be very, very careful about is look at the family. and you kind of go, okay, this person, and not everybody who's going to help you, not everybody's going to come for you is going to be helping you.
Yeah.
And my old man, my dad, bless him, he passed away. He said, I'll say it in English, but he said it in Punjabi, and he said, when there's a fire, two kinds of people will come to you. One who wants to put the fire out with water, one who just wants to warm their hands with it.
Yeah.
You got to be careful which one you let in.
Yes.
Because whichever person you let in, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with having family, basically.
Jazakallah. Sister Aisha, do you want to add to that? Have you had any scenarios where family have got involved where couples have been forced to get divorced?
Yeah, I think it's a catch-22 scenario, isn't it? Because on one hand, our deen requires us to bring in people of hikmah,
yeah,
people of authority and that are neutral, and so you want to do that at the same time, but then you can't find all the time those people in your family, and so you're forced to then go outside the family, and whether it's an imam or a counselor, someone to bring them in. But then if that happens, then you know your family's also going to say something and saying, hey, why are you sharing all of this outside of our home?
Yeah.
So there's so many complications, but I'll tell you what, I've also seen this after the divorce as well. So I had a woman who came to me who had gone through a separation, and she was in the middle of her divorce. And she had a child with this man. And she said, look, Aisha, we're very amicable, alhamdulillah. We're very amicable, and but my parents have told me to stop talking to him. And I said, why? And she said, they don't want me to contact him in regards to our son. And I said, do you mean that you can't speak to him in regards to arranging time to see his son? And she said, yeah. I said, why? And she said, because they don't like him.
Wow.
I said, but that's his haq to see his son as well. And, you know, there's rules and regulations in how you interact with non-mahram, but in this case, at the end of the day, that's a mom that's in charge of her child, and the father's asking to see him. And if they're amicable and there's nothing concerning,
no issues,
you need to be aware of that, because you're then cutting that tie that we cannot do in regards to the father seeing the child. And I think people are not aware of stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of emotions come up in this, well, we don't like him, so you can't speak to him. Yeah, but what about the children involved? You know, there has to be a communication of some sort. But they also didn't want to provide her like a third person they can go through. So she was stuck in that, like, do I listen to my parents because I'm living in their family, in their house, excuse me, or do I go ahead and do what is right? And so it is a catch-22 situation that we're finding.
I think that's really difficult. I can understand how difficult that would be. Has there ever been a situation where you've had to tell somebody to get visitation for their children?
Yes. I think when two people couldn't communicate properly, and there was a lot of animosity on both sides.
Yeah.
Where they couldn't communicate properly amongst themselves, and they couldn't do it through a third party, a family member, and that's when I give them a Jav's number then and say, look, you do need to come up with something, because it's the right of both parents to see their child if there's nothing going on, right? But if you can't come up with that plan together, then the next person or the next people is, you know, our court system.
Yeah, what I wanted to say about a situation where I've seen this scenario, Javed, you might know more about this, is that we had a couple that separated, but the wife had put false allegations that he abuses his son. So then he can't have visitation now. How long does that take? Obviously, for people who are out there who are going through this situation, you as a obviously person from a law background, what would you do? How do you go around that?
That's very, very common, because very rarely do people amicably sort out children act matters. So very rarely will they say, okay, fine, you can have a little child, you know, between this man, etc., etc. When it's really, really bitter, you're going to have accusations. Now, the whole purpose of accusations, and by definition, is they are just accusations. Nothing's been proven. Now, in order to basically prove or disprove these allegations, we have what's called a finding of fact. So it's a civil trial.
Yep.
So traditionally it's the wife, the mum. She will make all these allegations. Father did this, and this. You know, he beat me. He didn't feed little kid. He's basically abused a little kid, etc. Based on the evidence at hand, on a balance of probabilities, the judge will either find these things happen or they didn't happen. Now, if they didn't happen, contact is then unrestricted because there's no safeguarding or welfare concerns. And that's the number one thing that the courts are looking out for is it safe for the child to have a relationship with the other parent? Does it meet safeguarding and welfare concerns?
How long does that process take?
It can take anywhere between, I'd say, 6 to 9 months, if not longer. But what I always say to people is, it's a one-shot deal. See, when your wife says, he threw baby down the stairs, now you've separated. He can only ever say that, she can only ever say that once. The allegation can only ever be made once. If you disprove it, if it's not proven, and the other thing you have to remember is, the law works on the side of the child, right? So a child legally has equal right to a relationship with both parents. So the law doesn't work backwards. You see, in crime, you're innocent until proven guilty.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
In family law, you don't have to prove why you want to see the child. They have to prove why you shouldn't see the child.
Right.
So the law, the actual law starts off with, you shall have a relationship with the child providing it's safe and in the child's best interest.
Yeah.
Now it's for the other party to prove why it isn't.
Yes.
That's the key.
Jazakallah khair, Javed bhai. We're going to go to the question now. Inshallah, Sister Aishah, I'm going to have this question passed to you. The question is, why is the woman seen as at fault when she gets divorced, while the man moves on and gets married again?
I think that's more of a question to your community than me.
Yeah.
just being very, very frank and very honest. I think that's a question of people's perception of what divorce is. So the question I would ask you, if you were in front of me, is, what do you think of divorce? What does divorce mean to you?
Yeah.
And many women will come to me and say it's negative, it's this, just as we spoke about at the beginning. It's, you know, it's not allowed, it's the worst thing you can ever do in Islam, etc. And that's okay, because they believe that and they think that. But then my job is then to make you flip that narrative and ask yourself, yeah, but what did we learn from the situation? You too can move on and get married, actually. There's nothing stopping you to do that. And many women think they think the same as their small communities. So they always ask me, like, why is it that he can go and do what he wants? And I was like, Habibti, you can do what you want as well. You just have to sit and iddah first. That's fine. It's only a short while. It goes very fast. And then you work on yourself. But the issue that comes up then is a lot of women do certain things just to prove to themselves mostly that they're doing okay. So they will put up statuses on WhatsApp, the classic thing, quotes, music, all of that stuff. And they put themselves in that position of vulnerability, and they put themselves in that position of feeling sad and depressed all the time.
Yeah, I think that's a time where they could fall easy prey to someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we definitely, we've seen that, both of us have seen that where men have approached women in that position and not really understood that she's not quite ready.
Yeah.
So women have to understand that it is going to take time, and that is okay.
Yeah.
That is okay. Like, if you were to go the day after and get married, it's just going to end up being the same relationship. Yeah. And this happens for men as well. Like, it's going to end up the same relationship. So yeah, you can go through your divorce and you can do what you want after that. But there's certain rules, and within those rules, there's hikmah in those rules.
Yeah, sure.
And we have to understand that.
I just got another question for you, Sister Aishah. Do you know if after a woman gets a divorce, how long do you support them? Counseling, how long do you counsel them? Is there a specific period, or is it as long as they need it?
So we have different packages depending on what the woman actually needs and not what she wants. But our longest term is between 3 and 6 months.
Okay.
But if they decide, hey Aisha, I need a bit more time, that's fine. There's no real set time, because some women don't need it for that long, depending on like where they are with their situation, and some need it for a lot longer as well.
Okay. Do you want to tell us about the other packages you have as well, so at least our listeners know about it?
Yeah, of course. So we have what I like to say the world's first membership for Muslim divorced women. Alhamdulillah. And in that membership, I deliver classes every single month. So they're based in Islamic psychology, and they're very heavy on deen as well, but in healing, because I find that women come to me and they ask me like, I feel like my iman is going really weak. And so we build that into the actual healing.
Very good.
So that they have those options for them and they're learning at the same time. And in that community, it's also about women making friends with one another, but most importantly, supporting one another. Because, and we touched on this earlier, a lot of women feel like it's only them going through that situation. And so to create that community and that family feel for them, we created a membership. And then we have our smaller programs like the Power Hour and VIP Day, which is just sitting one-to-one with me and laying everything out on the table and us creating a plan together so that you can start implementing different changes into your life.
Also, do you provide marriage counseling, or do you direct people to marriage counseling if they need it?
I have supported women that are married. I think because they like the style that I work in, but usually I do send them to another person.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. Javed, I've got one question and then we'll go for a break after this. The question is, we've got a brother whose message, not given his name, but he's also said, I hope this program will be fantastic and knowledgeable for all the listeners. The question is, how can you help a divorced woman with or without children, help and support her in a positive direction?
I think it's more directed towards Aishah. But I think if we take Aishah out of the scenario for 1 second, like the whole of Clear Sky Healing, and just talk generically, I think as a society, as a community, as South Asian, Pakistani Muslims, we need to change our perspective. We need to change the way we view divorce, the way we look at divorced women. I think they're still treated like second-class citizens. I still think they're treated like, and I don't use this word, lightly. We treat them like used goods. I know that's quite heavy terminology, but that is unfortunately the way our community still views divorced women. When quite frankly, they've got a massive important role to play within our community. They've got a role to play in their children's lives in terms of bringing everything. Divorce happens. And I think what we try to do, and like I said, this is why me and Aishah set up Clear Sky Healing, is we found too many times that after the divorce, women are just left on their own. The divorce is done. That's just the legal paperwork, the legalities, she gets the house, he gets the car, etc., pensions, whatever, boom, it's all done. What then happens to that woman? And I'm finding increasingly that our community is distancing itself from these women. It's kind of driving them into silly avenues, into coping on their own, which they don't have the weapons, they don't have the armory to do. And I think that's where, if you say, how can we help? I'd say as a community as a whole, let's change our perspective on divorced women, 100%.
Jazakallah khair. Sister Aishah, I've got another question for you related to this as well. One thing that I've noticed as well, when a woman gets divorced, she goes back ultimately to her parents' house, if that's where she's going. Now, her parents also, I've seen this, they shun their kids, they shun their daughter. Do you know to share your point of view on that and why that's wrong as well?
I think as a parent, and I am a parent, if my daughter tomorrow was to come and said, look, Mum, this happened to me, I have two ways of dealing with it, right? The right and the wrong way. The wrong way is saying, okay, this is your fault. You should have been more vigilant. You should have known what to do. And you should stay because you might have children together. The right way is saying, okay, this has happened. I'm going to support you. I'm going to give you whatever you need. You need a house, you need clothes, you need food, no problem. And I'm going to give you that space just to do whatever you need to do right now and treat people with kindness. Now, even in the Quran, we know that men and women should separate with kindness, with dignity. So our parents have to also understand this as well. We need to welcome our daughters because we're going to be accountable for that. And how kindly we looked after her. I think when you're a parent, you need to understand that sometimes there are going to be things that you just can't save. As much as you want to, you can't save. You can't save people, your children, from heartbreak or deep emotions. They have to go through it, but you can give them the space for it.
Jazakallah khair, sister. Thank you very much. We are going to go for another commercial break, inshallah. After this commercial break, we'll go a couple more questions and then we'll conclude, inshallah. So we're going to go to another naat, inshallah, my brothers and sisters. I hope you're all enjoying the program. If you have any questions, I can see the phone ringing right now, so please ring our studio telephone number 01274 570 570 Another note for all our listeners, and inshallah Aziz, we will return after the short commercial break.
Listening to Radiomac's Jamal Thani broadcast on 107.1 FM. You can also listen to us on www.radiomac.org. And if you would like to advertise, ring 0793 66 77403.
ओ मुड़िया ये खाना दो बंदियां ना सा मारे ऐसे ना कुदर गया
ओ बाबा वो खाना ही इतना मजेदार सी नी तुझे याद ही नहीं कि मैं सारा ही खाया था
ओ निकिया ऐसा स्वादला खाना किन जैसे मंगाई
ये मजेदार खाना शेनवाड़ी रेस्टोरेंट से मंगवाया गया है, जहां से आपको सुबह का नाश्ता मिलेगा और चपली कबाब, फुल लैम, चर्सी कढ़ाई, काबली पुलाव और बहुत कुछ. Try the best. Try Shinwari's. 358 Leeds Road, Bradford, BD3 9QX 01274 371083. Opening times every day 8 a.m. till midnight.
Parkiza Lees Road, not just a supermarket, but different from the rest. As well as all your everyday shopping needs, our food to go serves the finest tasting desi curries, delicious starters, and much more. Probably the largest selection of mouth-watering food ready to go. And did you know we cater for any parties and gatherings at great value prices? Gamiho Yahushi. Call us on 01274 737786 or pop in and discover Bradford's best kept secrets.
Travel Express minibus and coach hire provides a wide range of services including schools, weddings, airport transfers, Hajj and Umrah, theme parks and seaside resorts. We have a mixed fleet of vehicles ranging from 16-seat minibuses right through to 80-seater double-deck buses to cater for all your occasions. The biggest operator in Bradford. For a quotation, visit travelexpress.co.uk. Travel Express, the coach depot, Audley Road, Shipley, BD 17 7HP 01274 598 833.
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। मुसलमान भाइयों बहनों, जामिया उस्मानिया हीथरो रोड ब्रैडफोर्ड 9 नई मस्जिद बना रहे हैं जिस पर 3 मिलियन पाउंड खर्चा आएगा। इस सदका जारिया में हिस्सा लेकर जन्नत में अपना घर बनाएं, क्योंकि अल्लाह के नबी सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम का फरमान है, जिसने दुनिया में अल्लाह का घर बनाया अल्लाह उसको जन्नत में घर अता फरमाएगा। राब्ता के लिए मुफ्ती मोहम्मद बशीर मुताहिर, फोन नंबर 07866311213 और साहबजादा मोहम्मद यासर 07367576631।
Mover Properties are a team of qualified professionals with a decade of experience in the property industry. Are you looking for tenants? Is your property empty? Do you want peace of mind? Mover Properties has the solution. Full management, regular inspection, property maintenance, tenants waiting in all areas, letting sales and commercials. Mover Properties, Tentercourt Lane, BD9 482 Other branch 282 Ollerton Road, BD15. Email info@moverproperties.co.uk and our website moverproperties.co.uk. Pearl's Tea Room and Patisserie, a unique dining experience for halal gourmet burgers, freshly squeezed juices, mouth-watering cakes and delicious macaroons. Indulge yourself in an experience to overwhelm the senses. Pearl's Tea Room and Patisserie, opening times 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. on weekdays and 9 a.m. till 10 p.m. on weekends. Find us at 46 Ruley Avenue, Bradford, BD6 1DA, behind the Shell petrol station. Call 01274 306 567.
क्या कर रहे हैं अंकल जी?
पुत्रा फुल्लो दिन बकू करी छोड़िया टायरानी वजह नाल
तुसा की आ गया सी ना टायर बदलाओ
और तू की पता टायर कहते महंगे वे कोई चंगी चीज सस्ती चीज दास ना।
Champion Tyres Limited, 13 to 22-inch Part 1 tyres for cars, vans and 4x4s. If you buy 4 tyres, you get a free laser tracking check. Champion Tyres Limited, 26 Hale Lane, Bradford. Call 01274 641 845. Special offer for taxi drivers, tracking from £10.
New insights into the mysteries of the Quran, a book by Asif Sabah, self-help guide to meditation and the Quran, health, wealth, happiness and well-being. Order your copy on Amazon now or visit asifsabahmindfulness.com. The Rock Crystals is an adventure into the afterlife, also available on Amazon. रज़िया केरी पिकरिच पेंगे पहलू ना बयानी शॉपिंग वास्ते इधर-उधर फिरना पैसी ओ जाए फिरने की क्या जरूरत है सिद्धे चाचा प्लाजा चो जिथे हर चीज लबनी ज्वेलरी ते कपड़े तक प्लाजा एक ते बेशुमार दुकाना इस जाने ना चाचा प्लाजा
Plaza 2 Ingleby Road, Bradford, BD7 to AT. Ring 07459 814 556. That's 07459 814 556.
Neither on the attorney, neither on the attorney.
ओ बाबा जिस बेड पर तो सा सैलियो नींदर अच्छी नहीं बल्कि उड़नी जानी
अब दस ना फिर मैं क्या करा
चंगी नींदर ते चंगी बेड पर असली ते चंगिया बेड लबड़िया टेस्टेड एंड ओखली बेड्स तो
All beds direct from factory, no middleman. We specialize in assortment of mattresses and divans. Special landlord and trade discount open to the public. Save money. Chester and Oakley Beds, 25 Mount Street, Bradford, BD4 8TA 01924 473 323. Spend over £300 and get a £50 discount if you mention Radiomac.
Would you like to advertise digitally at a cost that is flexible, targetable, affordable and accessible? Then look no further. Adverts for You has designed most comprehensive range of digital advertising vans to meet the needs of businesses and agencies nationwide. Mobile digital vans with the best of technology to get your message delivered to targeted audience of your choice. Adverts from as little as £99, interacting and measuring in real time the client's message. Visit adverts4u.co.uk or call 0781 785 4715 to book your campaign today.
ओ बाबा क्या गाली क्यों रो रहे हो ओ यारा मिट्टी लकना बहुत दर्द लकना दर्द है तो उसकी पता नहीं अला दिन कारपेट वाले पिछले 3 सालों तू लकने दर्दनी बेडा बेचने तू ना नहीं छोड़या उना को लकने दर्दनी बेडा डीवे स्लाइडर ऑटोमैन सिंगल ते डबल बेड होनी उना की कीमतां भी बड़ियां जबरदस्त हैं तो मुफ्त में डिलीवरी करने इसके अलावा उना को कारपेट ते लैमिनेट ना बड़ा सिलसिला
Aladdin Carpets and Furniture, 31 Lumlane, BD8 7QU 01274 741 446. Good news for Bradford and Yorkshire. Opening offer first week 25% off. We Desi authentic South Indian dosa and street style Chinese food. We Desi opening in your hometown Bradford and Manningham Lane, BD8 7HH 01274 712 783. First place to introduce 99 variety of dosa and Indian street style Chinese and street style charts. Morning breakfast where you can eat Hyderabadi Nawabi style Nihari and Paya. Desi breakfast with chana halwa puri. Special Hyderabad dum biryani. Tandoori items and a variety of desserts and mocktails. You are listening to Radiomac's Jamal Thani broadcast on 107.1 FM. You can also listen to us on www.radiomac.org. If you would like to advertise, ring 0793 667
You are listening to Radiomac on 107.1 FM and you are tuned in to the Inquest challenge show with Hamaad. I welcome all my listeners back after the commercial break. We are now in our final part of our special program today, which is titled The Stigma of Divorce, How a Cultural Society Shames Women After Divorce. Alhamdulillah, we had a very, very informative program. We've got Sister Aishah Javed from Clear Sky Healing and Brother Javed Iqbal from Clear Sky Legal Services joined us in the studio today. Alhamdulillah, they've been here since 7:30 and we've been having a very informative discussion regarding the stigma of divorce and also a number of questions that we've had. I would like to welcome both of you back. So, Brother Javed, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam.
Sister Aishah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So, we've got a couple more questions. I'm going to go to the questions and however you guys see fit wants to answer the question. So, the next question is if a woman wants to file for a divorce but the husband won't allow it because many family members will be affected, what should she do?
File. So I think
it's worth speaking to someone of knowledge first. So whether you're coming to me, whether you're speaking to someone else, someone who has hikmah, who has wisdom about your situation, and then I would say, make a decision after that, because only you know your decision the best. I would definitely say if that's what's in your heart and you can justify it, then do it.
MashaAllah. Javaid, you want to try? Well, you already added
yeah,
to that,
no, I mean, the reason I said file is because the question sounded like she had already made her mind up that the marriage had ended, but her husband wouldn't allow her to do it because the family members. That again is wrong, but she's well within her rights Islamically and legally to start and instigate proceedings whenever she wants, providing she's done exactly what Aishah just said and she's gone through that process of seeking advice, making sure everything is in line, and then she wants to file it, then certainly she should do so.
Yeah. No, Jazakallah khair, Javed bhai. Next question. I am married to my cousin. We both wanted to marry and loved each other. However, as time has gone on, my husband has turned against my family and friends. He won't divorce me because of our daughters and how it will affect them. I feel helpless. What should I do?
I think I pretty much covered this when I said that don't stay together for the sake of children, but this sounds more like a controlling and coercive relationship more than anything else. Now, in that scenario, what the lady needs to do, what the sister needs to do is decide whether she wants to stay in that marriage and what that marriage is going to look like moving forward. If he's not going to change at all, and let's say she has got family involved and she's got other people involved, then she needs to make some tough decisions. The issue with regards to the children, I don't think that should play a factor in it, simply because, like I said before, staying together for the sake of the children is not good enough reason. But I'm going to let, obviously, Aishah address that one as well.
I completely agree. I think we have to understand like the detrimental emotional impact it has on children when parents are staying together and cannot be amicable. There is definitely challenges that come up in marriages, and those should be addressed, and you should seek knowledge on that and work through them. But if it comes to a stance where you think, I don't know if this can go on any longer, your children see that, and they do understand what's going on. Our children are so, mashallah, our children are so intelligent. Do not ever underestimate the understanding of children. They see things, they might not understand it straight away, but they see things, they hear things. And so when we speak to children, I think Jav knows about Kafkas as well, when Kafkas has to speak to children, children tell you so much. They tell you so much, and you think they don't know anything, they do. So I think bearing in mind, like, as a woman whose parents got divorced as well, I can definitely tell you we know a lot more. But when parents are staying for the sake of those children, they're not understanding, you're probably most likely to cause more harm than good. Because you can still be amazing parents, just not living together.
Yeah. Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much for that, Sister Aishah. I've got some more questions that are coming through now, alhamdulillah. Listeners are giving some more questions. The next question, I don't think you've had the privilege of seeing this question. So the question is, I'm struggling at the moment, but my family doesn't want me to get married again. They don't know what I'm going through. What advice can you give?
Ooh, great question. You've already answered it partly though. Your family don't know what you're going through.
Yeah.
So yes, there should be blessings from your family, but you also have to understand two things. I'm going to say this. Number one, to get married is part of the sunnah. It is a huge sunnah, and so many of us know that marriage is half of your deen. So it's a massive opportunity that can help you build the most beautiful akhirah for you.
Subhanallah.
And we have to understand that. The second thing is you know your life better than anyone else. Better than anyone else. I would urge you to get married. I would always say to someone, if you're in a position, get married. You know, God has made two people to come together. That is why we're here. It's male and female come together. And if you're in that position, do it.
Jazakallah khair. We've got a couple more questions. I'm going to go through them. I think one of the questions you already answered earlier on the show, but I think our sister just joined us who's asked the question. The question is, what type of counselling can you help with? Please give more details.
Oh, of course. So what I do is coaching, right? So it's a little bit different to actual counselling, and it's a little bit different to therapy.
Yeah.
But the way we work is we are action based. So a woman will come to me, and although I have qualifications in different modes of therapy, it's actually coaching that I mostly practice with a background in Islamic psychology. And what that means is that women will come to me and they'll be given a lot of tasks that they have to do to make sure that you're really putting in action. We speak about things, we speak about what your position is, and break down different beliefs that I can see that you have that don't serve you in terms of your emotions, your deen, and that stop you from getting to the next steps. But if you go onto our website, and I'll tell you the website, it is clearskyhealing.co.uk. On our About Us page, you'll see all of my story, how we work and what we do for women, and you can book a call with us, and I'm happy to have that discussion again.
Masha, so that's clearskyhealing.co.uk.
Yes.
Sister, do you want to share the rest of your details with the listeners as well?
Yeah, of course. Okay, so the website again is clearskyhealing.co.uk, and our office number is 01274 981212. And then all social medias, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, we are Clear Sky Healing. So you can get in touch with us through there as well.
Jazakallah khair. The final question of the day, Javed Bhai, is going to be directed towards yourself. A sister who wanted to keep it anonymous has said, I want to get a divorce but don't know how to. What can I do or what should I do?
Get in touch.
Do you want to give me details, Javed Bhai?
Yeah, so get in touch with us. We're Clear Sky Legal Services. So we specialise in divorce, children act matters, matrimony, finances. The phone number is 01274 981818. So Clear Sky Healing is 981212. Clear Sky Legal Services 981818. Or you can WhatsApp me anonymously, excuse me, or call me on 07808 720 827. In terms of divorce, it's a relatively straightforward legal process. But again, I can talk the sister through that when she gives me a call.
Jazakallah khair. Sister Aishah, do you want to say any final words and conclude?
Yeah, of course. For all women that are here and that are listening, I just want to say, like, there is help out there, non-judgmental help, and the reason we set up Clear Sky Healing is to bring together psychology, my background in psychology, and Islam, and put it together so that you have a full holistic approach to healing. And there is never a position where you are judged on what you think, on what you say, on what you do, and whatever decision you make, whether you're staying married, whether you go through divorce or a separation, you have to understand that when you go through it, the question in your mind needs to be, can I justify this in front of God?
Jazakallah khair, Sister Aishah. Thank you very much. Javed Bhai, do you want to conclude any final comments?
I think with Clear Sky Healing and the work that Aisha's doing, I'm just supporting her along. The work she's doing, I think, is much needed, and I think, you know, in this day and age, we need to help, and we've got the tools to help as many Muslim women as we can who are going through divorce, who have been through divorce, and who want to move on with their lives in a positive way.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much. Brother Javed, thank you very much for coming today. It's been a pleasure and an honour. And Sister Aisha,
Jazakallah, thank you for having us.
It's been a pleasure. It's been fantastic. I think it's opened my eyes to certain things as well. Alhamdulillah. I think I was of the very, very similar point of views to you guys. But I've heard things today that I'm definitely going to learn from myself. Alhamdulillah. So I hope our listeners are the same influence as myself. So Jazakallah khair for coming down, and I hope that we do have the opportunity to talk about this more, and hopefully have some more guests, you know, can tell us about maybe their experiences, stay anonymous or so forth, and other individuals who can talk about how this could make a difference to our society as well, inshallah.
Of course.
Jazakallah khair, Sister Aisha. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Jazakallah khair, Javed Bhai. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
And mashallah, that was Sister Javed, Sister Aisha and Brother Javed with me in the studio. It is the end of the show. Inshallah, Aziz, I'm staying here until 10 p.m. I've got some more Nas Industry dedication for all of my listeners. So keep listening. I've got another one for you. Keep listening to Radiomac on 107.1 FM. And you are tuned into the Inquest Challenge show with Hamaad.